What is QNH and QFE? First off, annoyingly they don't actually stand for anything. QNH is the regional pressure setting. All aircraft flying within the designated regions should be flying on the QNH. The QNH is the mean sea level pressure in that region. Therefore the QNH will tell you your altitude. The QFE is basically calibrated by an airfield. The QFE is set as such when an aircraft is at ground level at the aerodrome and is at the QFE, the altimeter should read 0. Therefore the QFE will tell you your height above the airfield. As a pilot you need to know the difference between altitude and height. Your altitude is your vertical distance above mean sea level. Your height is your vertical distance above a specified datum, normally an airfield or the terrain beneath you. When given the QNH or QFE, you will be given a 4-digit number. Except for in America, where they decided to be awkward, the number will be given in the form of millibars or hectopascals. It works out that 1 millibar is 1 hectopascal, so they're interchangeable. 1 millibar is roughly equal to 30 feet. Since the outside actual pressure is constantly changing, if you do not periodically update your altimeter with the correct QNH, your altitude profile will fluctuate, which is dangerous as you can drop below your minimum safe altitude, or conflict with other traffic, so be sure to update. In the UK, roughly 3,000 feet is known as a transition altitude. At this altitude you'll switch from using the QNH to using 1013 millibars. This is so that separation can be more easily maintained. Above the transition altitude you fly at flight levels. You basically knock the last 2 zeros off your altitude to give you your flight level. So, 12,500 becomes flight level 125. Aircraft flying above the transition altitude should be flying at an altitude in accordance to the quadrantal rule. This is as follows. If you're flying between north and 89 degrees, you should be flying at an odd altitude. If you're flying between 90 and 179 degrees, you should be flying at an odd altitude plus 500 feet. Between 180 and 269 degrees, at an even altitude. And between 270 and 359 degrees at an even plus 500 altitude. This rule applies above the transition altitude and below flight level 245. So if you were heading, say, 130 like this, you should have an odd plus 500 altitude. This would give us options such as 3,500, 5,500, 7,500 and so on. If we were heading in the opposite direction, we would need an even plus 500 altitude. So we could use values such as 6,500, 18,500, 20,500, etc. That's some basic altimetry for you.